On today's Warehouse Safety Tips Wednesday, we'll be covering the number one rule of safety, so stay tuned. Welcome to Warehouse Safety Tips. You can find the show notes to each episode, links to information mentioned on the podcast, the social media platforms we're on, and anything else related to the podcast at warehousesafetytips.com. Now, if you're a seasoned podcast listener, this podcast is going to be different from most you listen to. It's based around exactly what the name implies, warehouse safety tips. And since the people in this industry are busy, we know that time is money and each episode will be as short and to the point as possible. And now, with all of that out of the way, let's get to the podcast. Our message today covers the number one rule of safety. Now, you might be forming ideas in your mind about what that is. Could it be properly displayed and maintained safety floor markings and signs? Those are great, but no. Safety equipment such as steel-toe boots, glasses, harnesses, vests, ear protection, hard hats, or gloves? Once again, great, but no. Well, if it's not the first two items, then it has to be the safety rules and regulations set forth by your facility to follow, right? Nope. All those things and many more that we didn't mention are great, but they all have one missing component that makes them that way. You must implement those things, and not just a couple of them at a time every now and again, but all of them all of the time. It goes even further than that. You really need to hold those around you to the same standards. Otherwise, what you're doing will be diminished by those that aren't doing it. In other words, even if you're being safe, someone that isn't could cause you harm. And although you might be thinking it's not your job or place to say something, you need to. Think of it this way. If you were pumping gas and the person next to you lit up a cigarette, hopefully you would tell them to put the cigarette out or immediately alert someone to have them do it. Not doing so could spell disaster. Keeping you, fellow staff, and your facility safe is of the utmost importance. Make sure it begins with you. Before moving on, here's a word from one of our sponsors. If you've ever been to or worked in a warehouse, you know just how important safety is to both management and staff. It's almost impossible to go 10 steps without seeing safety tape, angles, signs, and/or safety products. It's these items that show us how to be safe and avoid danger in the workplace. And if you're looking for the best products to make this happen, look no further than Mighty Line. Mighty Line floor signs and floor markings offer the best industrial products out there. We're proud to have Mighty Line as the official floor sign and floor marking company for the Warehouse Safety Tips podcast and site. Go to mightylinetape.com/safety tips to request a sample pack of their incredible safety signs and floor markings. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Warehouse Safety Tips. If you visit warehousesafetytips.com, you'll find the show notes for this episode and access to all of our blog posts, previous podcasts, advertiser information, and much more. Thank you for listening to Warehouse Safety Tips and have a safe day.